folks. Rachael Saffer. Rachael, say hi.
Hi. Hello. Hi.
Folks, you want to be kissing up to her because whenever we host this event, people come always running up to me and go, Lance, next year, host it there. Little secret, I don't make any of these strategic decisions. She does. So if you have any input on where you would like to see summits in the future, Rachael is the one to be talking to. So just put you on the spot right there.
I enjoy chocolate.
Yeah. All right, so Rachael and I were part of the team that puts together that annual security awareness report. And really our goal is to provide you a data-driven report, enabling you to take action items to improve and mature both your program, but really grow your career. A lot of times people are going, but what's everybody else doing? What is working and what's not working? This is the 10th annual report where we attempt to do that. And we're really excited because just like this is the largest summit we've ever had, this is the largest report we've ever had data-wise. We had over 2,500 people. Now, Rachael and I are going to cover some really exciting findings, but I guarantee some of you are going to go, but Lance, what about X? You know, this country, this organization size, this industry. For you folks, both in virtual and in the room, we have a Slack channel just for the Security Awareness Report called Security Awareness Report. Allison is dropping the name into Slack so you can join the Slack channel. On that channel, we have Chad, our data analyst. In fact, he's here. Chad, where are you? All right, there you go. Just listen for that Southern accent, you'll find him. So when you find Chad, he's going to be on that channel. He's got all of the data accessible. So when you go, but Lance, you and Rachael didn't cover X, in real time, anytime for the rest of today, ask Chad on the Security Awareness channel, and he's happy to do you a custom report. In other words, Lance, how many people does the typical company in my industry, in my country, have on their security awareness and culture team to achieve this maturity level? Or how much does the average person get paid in this industry, in this region, with this much experience? He's happy to do those dynamic reports for you while we're talking, and he's going to be there all day today. So once again, the Security Awareness Report channel. What am I forgetting before we start?
No, I think that's fully covered. As you'll notice, there are a few accents. You've got Chad with the Southern accent. I'm not from around here, and we've got Lance. So just choose your accent you prefer, and we will take some votes at the end.
All right. And then, like I said, folks, too, if you have questions, we're here afterwards. But Chad's the real brains. He's the data analyst that helped really drive this. All right, why don't you start?
Okay, so what we're going to cover today, not necessarily in this order, because we like to keep you on your toes and make sure you're paying attention before we go to lunch. And so we're going to cover why this report matters. And if you haven't read the report before, by the time we get to the end of this presentation, I'm hoping that we will have convinced you enough to
Are we dropping the link to the report in Slack?
100%. We will be dropping the link to the report in Slack.
If you haven't gotten it yet.
If you haven't had it yet, if you haven't got it yet. If you're here in person, if you head over to the workforce booth, you'll speak to one of the team, one of my team, and they will give you a hard copy of the report so you can take it home. And other things we'll cover. What's new in this report, what we discovered this year, key data points that you can act on right now, because that's the whole point of the report, is the key takeaways. Action items to help you mature your program, and a bit of an idea as to where we think that's going in the future and why we think it's heading in that direction. And then career insights and compensation data. This report is to help facilitate those conversations. So we're aiming to give you what you need so that you can have those conversations internally with your senior leadership.
So Rachael nailed a good point there, or key point. It's really about action items. We don't want to generate a pretty report everywhere with just nice graphs. we want to answer the so what question. And the key thing with both the report and what we're going to wrap up here is what can you do based on this data? Now, as Rachael mentioned, as we mentioned, largest ever, we surveyed over 2,500 security awareness and culture professionals globally. And we're using that data, your responses, to drive the report. It's that data that Chad is analyzing in real time for you. Very global data set from over 70 countries around the world. All right, there we go right here. What we are all talking about, Chad, this is your slide where we're promoting you. And once again, that's the channel you want to join. Okay, now, as Rachael mentioned, we've been doing this for 10 years. So not only are we going to be sharing with you what we learned this year, but kind of the trends we've been seeing over the past 10 years. Some things have changed, some things haven't. So we're going to be going into that. Anything you care to add?
Yes, absolutely. So this year we've also got, and if you've spotted it around and about, congratulations, especially if you're on Lance's community channel, you'll find that we have updated the maturity model and its indicators. This is a really important model, apart from that it's really colorful. So as your resident marketer, I'm very much a fan of color. You'll see that the last stage of those of you who know the model has changed to optimization and resilience. Lance, do you want to explain a bit about why we've done this?
So first of all, what is the model and why do I care? It's really the foundation of how we operate. It's been around for 15 years. The model is very simplistic. Well, that's both its advantages and disadvantages. So for those of you that have seen this model before, we only made one or two very minor tweaks really to help you. For those of you who have never seen the model before, it enables you to figure out where our program is, how we compare to others, where do we want to go, and the roadmap to get there. And the whole idea is on the far left, compliance, we're just checking the box, that once a year training. As you progress to the right, you're going from behavior, you're going to culture, and then ultimately at a very strategic level, we're optimizing throughout the year, we're aligning with strategic priorities. The whole idea is this is a powerful tool that not only manage your program, but communicate to leadership. The problem is leadership quite often thinks, oh, we're doing great stuff. We've really secured the human. We have a strong security culture. Quite often we are in the position of saying, no, we're not, and this is why. This is a model that can help you. To Rachael's point, really the biggest change is just tweaking some terminology. The last stage on the right, the blue one, traditionally called strategic metrics framework, because it's very strategic, you're aligning with leadership's priorities. But we found that caused some confusion because metrics are a very important part of every stage. So to help emphasize that, we simply renamed it to what it really is: optimization and resilience. Any of you that have worked with the model before, really, that's it. We'd add some tweaks to help really grow the culture side. So why is this important? Because in big part, this is what the report maps to. The more mature an organization is, the more mature they are mapped to this. So this is really the foundation of the report and what we're going to share. All right, so moving on. First, one of the key items, and to Rachael's point, one of the key new findings is first, everyone always asks, well, how big should my team be? What we also asked, and we're really surprised, is we new question, how old is your program? And Chad found a very strong correlation. Just having a lot of people on your team is great, but as we've heard in many of the talks, Allison, Wendy, and others, culture, not just behavior, but ultimately culture, long-term gain. We're dealing in years, not months. So what we found is strong correlation to bigger team, but also you've been sustaining much longer. So remember that model I just showed you. For behavior change, need on average about 3 full-time employees in your program, and it's going to take 3 to 5 years to get there. Every industry is different, every organization is different, depending on how old you are, the size, the region. So, tremendous number of variables. But it's going to take 3 to 5 years to really drive behavior change organization wide. 5 to 10 years, culture change. And we're going from a team of 3 to a team of 4. And then hitting that truly mature stage can take up to a decade with at least 6 full-time employees. Once again, globally, this really varies. In some ways, it's hard for us to tell you exactly how many people you need. It's not like one person for every 10,000. But one of the interesting things we saw is even for very small organizations, 1,000 people, you need 1 to 2 dedicated full-time employees. Now, as you get bigger, it doesn't grow exponentially, because what we found is it doesn't matter. When you're rolling out training, it doesn't matter if you're rolling it out to 1,000 or 100,000. You need at least 1 dedicated person. So there's not some linear scale where for every 10,000, you need 1 person. What we tend to find is it kind of more maps to the maturity model. Now, a metric I am starting to look into is it's not so much you need 1 person for every 10,000 in your workforce. I'm beginning to think a good kind of model is 1 security awareness, 1 dedicated security culture person for every 10 people on your security team. So if you have a security team of 50, I'd love to see 5. Now, once again, you're like, Lance, this is a bit vague. What about this? That's why I've got Chad. So you're like, hey, I've got 55,000 people. I want to be this maturity level. I live in this region in the world. Talk to me, Chad. Chad is here to make you happy. Aren't you, Chad? Is anybody asking questions yet? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Chad's like, hell yeah. All right. What did I forget?
So something that I actually resonate really heavily with this point, and it's something that we've seen throughout the report, but also over time. And this is that in order to get those full-time employees, and we've heard it here in many of the talks throughout the summit, you need leadership buy-in, right? You have to have the conversation with your leaders, because without that investment, how are you going to scale your team? I am a marketer. I have the same conversation. I need to fight for budget. I also need to have investment in the stuff that I do. Otherwise, I can't put this on. And that will disappoint everyone, including me, because the cookies are really good. So important things happening. So when it comes to leadership buy-in, how do you have those conversations? And when it comes to optimization and resilience, it's not just having the conversations, you've then got to continually have the conversation. So you get their buy-in over time. So that buy-in is secured investment over 5, 10 years. So maybe we need to think about the skills involved in having those conversations, which we'll go into a little bit later.
And that's, once again, action items. So it's really easy for us to say, well, just go get leadership support. How do I do that? That's what we're going to cover, and that's what's in the report. That's the idea of we're identifying the challenges, but we want to give you the items to solve that. Now, before we get into those action items, one of the things we want to do is, well, where am I on the map? How do I compare to others? This is kind of where we found all 2,500 organizations mapping. It's a pretty much just a bell curve. Most of the people are in stage 3. The one trend we have seen over the past 10 years, this is where we are seeing change, is that non-existent, or hey, we're just starting, is slowly going down percentage-wise, and the far right optimization is going up. So in the past 10 years, we've seen like a 1% change, where on the far left, it's going down just a bit, the far right, it's going up a bit, and those 3 in the center are kind of the same. So it's just slow maturity of our field. Whoops, nope, need to go forward, not backwards. All right, now, one of the questions we wanted was, what are your top risks? And flat out the gate, and I'm not surprised, is the number one human risk you're worried about is social engineering. Now, notice we did not say phishing, we said social engineering. Phishing is a type of social engineering attack. The reason we use social engineering or scams is because we're seeing voice-based phishing, text-based smishing exploding also. And our concern is we're getting really good at teaching people about email-based attacks. Our concern is people walking away thinking attacks only happen over email. So you're going to see this in a trend in our community, moving away from it's phishing, phishing, phishing to no, it's social engineering. In some ways, we've created a problem because we're getting so good at training people about phishing, cyber attackers are going for people's phones. Also, security teams don't have visibility into people's phones. So not only are they people more vulnerable, but we are not seeing when they get exploited. The other three types, and I'll have Rachel jump in, the top three other ones, but much smaller: mishandling of sensitive data, authentication, and AI. And what's interesting, in the top human risks, we're seeing authentication drop. People are less and less concerned about authentication. Why? More and more companies are rolling out MFA. On the flip side, there's this scary tsunami called AI coming, and we don't even know what the hell to be teaching people. So, and that was one of the common things. So social engineering by far is at the top, but AI is coming in fast. Anything?
Yeah, so something that I'm really interested in, I use AI to help with my work, to support my work. SANS, as an institute, they also provide us with access to ChatGPT, a gated area that I can use to help me write copy, idea gen, that sort of thing. So it can be used as a tool for good. And this is something that we also kind of delve into the report, because how do we use AI effectively? So one of the other action items we'll go into is looking at how, as security awareness officers, and to try and enable those conversations with your leadership, you can use AI to support that. And throughout the campaign for the security awareness report, you'll be able to find online documents that you can download to help facilitate those conversations. So hopefully, misuse of AI and generative tools becomes something that we can work together on, and we can help boost what we do as opposed to fearing it.
Another question we asked is, what are your biggest challenges? Now, this is unfortunately one of those things that has not changed for the past 10 years. So we're asking about, leadership support or things like finance, operation. Well, long story short, the top blocker, the biggest pain is time, people. There's just so much we need to do, and we don't have the time or people to do it all. And that makes sense. Behavior, culture, it's a people problem, but it's also a people solution. So one of the things we're going to do in the report is show you how to get more people, how to save time. So everything we're focused on is simplifying your life. That was one of the biggest comments we saw. Give me resources, give me templates, give me spreadsheets. Well, I don't have time to reinvent the wheel. What can I leverage that others have used? So a couple of action items that Rachel and I want to share about. First of all, you'll notice within our industry, we're trying to migrate away from the word security awareness to human risk or culture. Why? The problem is this: we're all very passionate. We know what our field is all about. But security awareness is a term that quite often has certain bad perceptions to it. Quite often, the perception of compliance training, check the box, entertainment business. Now, we know that's not it, but we're dealing with the realities of perception. That's what leadership perceives. That's what security teams perceive. So we want you to speak in more strategic terms. Don't talk about what you're doing. Talk about why you're doing it. Don't talk about in terms, 86% completed the training. We have some guest speakers, infographics. We rolled out micro videos. That's great, But once again, it sounds like you're in the entertainment business. What you want to do is, hey, we identified that 86% of our incidents last year involved people. My job is to reach out and help secure our workforce by driving behavior change and ultimately culture change, enabling us to achieve our strategic objectives, to include the adoption of AI. There, we're talking about the why, not the what. So the first step to getting that support is talking in the terms leadership cares about. Some organizations I'm seeing human risk, so other organizations I'm seeing security culture, whatever works for you. Two, anyone that has taken my class, you'll know I really show a lot of recommendations on how to leverage AI. Think of it as your intern. It helps do all the dirty work for you, and then you are responsible for the final result. Newsletters, learning objectives, quiz questions, scripts, audio, all of these different materials. Or, hey, I don't really understand all of these different technologies and how they work. AI can really help you accelerate. Whenever I create a newsletter, I like a story at a beginning. I'm horrible at stories. AI helps me get there. Three, don't do everything yourself. Partnerships. Partner with HR, partner with comms, partner with the help desk. Quite often, they have all the dirt on what's really going on. Take them out to coffee, take them out to lunch. Finally, one of the things you can do is help leadership understand the gap. Hey, we have 50 people on the security team. 49 are focused on the technical side. 1 is focused on the human side. And then we wonder why the human is now the primary attack vector. That's one other thing I'm trying to switch. I'm trying to switch the conversation from people are the weakest link. I don't like that. It implies it's their fault. I prefer people are the primary attack vector. Kind of implies maybe it's a bit of our fault. And that's what this event is all about. Rachel, anything you want to add?
Absolutely. So with that, it's all about messaging and positioning, right? So we're talking about changing the subtle nuances in how we're talking about what we do. And that's a positioning thing. So what you're trying to do is really the same, but how you position it internally, how you speak to it, how you build confidence, whether it's taking somebody out for coffee or maybe buying them chocolates, heads up. It doesn't matter which way you decide to go. It's about how you position it. And actually, that comes from within you. Every single one of you in this room does your job and works in a very different organization. There is not one size that fits all. And that's something that I've heard as feedback, because we're right. We all deal with our roles in a very different way. So how do we know our roles very well. So we can use that knowledge to position how we talk about our role internally. Use your personality, let it come out. Show it to the world, show it to your bosses, and let your role become really about you and what you can build within your organization, because that's going to be something that helps you position what you're doing and add that value to your leadership.
All right, like I said, the report goes into more detail on all these action items. Now, one of the things is we're really about community and not just improving your program, but improving you. And what we mean by improving is helping you grow your credibility, your reputation, and compensation. So what we did is ask hey, folks, what are the salaries like? And here, once again, Chad's going to be up till 2 a.m. answering all these. But Chad can go ahead and, hey, what's the average pay rate in my industry, in my region, for somebody that's been in this long? We can get that there. Now, global average, kind of similar to last year. Now, when I say global, I mean every industry, every country at a global level. North America, you'll notice a little bit higher. Europe, a little bit lower. Probably not a surprise. But a couple of things we found that was interesting. The higher your organization's maturity level, the higher your salary. And it makes sense. A couple of things. The organizations that tend to be the most mature not always, tend to be larger organizations, risk adverse. They have the resources, kind of like an HSBC, where you saw Allison here and her team of over 30 people focusing on the human side. In those environments, what we tend to find is they're willing to invest. And as a result, we tend to see a higher pay rate. Also, highest paid industries, entertainment, media, and tech. Now, one of the things we wanted to do, though, was see what is it that we need to do to help increase our pay, our credibility, and our opportunities. So we're going to be covering that in just a moment. Once again, action items. What's slowing me down? And in a lot of ways, it's related to what some of the things we've already covered. Now, what's neat is we're starting to ask folks, do you like your job? And overwhelmingly, people in our field love their job. Most love their company. Some want to get out of security awareness, and there's a very small percentage that just, I'm done, I'm getting out of security. In general, though, this is a very happy community. Rachael, anything?
Yes, I can vouch for all of you. You're a very happy community.
Yeah.
And you're all very nice to talk to, and you make this Brit over here feel very welcome. So first of all, thank you all very much. You're all very, very lovely people. But something that I've noticed, and it's something that actually stands as an organization notice, because we work with cyber defense, we work with pen testers, we work DEFACon, we go to all of these events across the world. So we work with cybersecurity professionals across the world. And something that we love about this summit, something that I love, is just how friendly everyone is. And the fact that you help each other, you collaborate, you really want to share your stories. We've heard some amazing stories, starting with our keynote yesterday, I think you'll all agree, and moving on through to today, especially with HSBC and their stories. So something that is, I guess, something I wish and I hope that we can continue way into the future is that we can still be happy and we can keep being happy in the roles that we are doing.
One of the things I'm curious about is asking Chad, is there any correlation to how happy people are and either how mature their program is or how much they're paid? All right, now a couple though of action items to help you. Once again, this is based on data from the past couple of years. First of all, you are very strategic. We are in the human risk business. The problem is a lot of times leadership doesn't realize it because we tend to talk in terms of what we're doing. We're very excited about it, but it sounds like we're in the entertainment business. Always try to link it back to the why. We're driving behavior change, we're reducing risk, we're improving culture. Now, some of the other ways we can do this also is expand your role. Folks, you are some of the best communicators in the world within cybersecurity. Let leadership know I can help take over any crisis communication. We have an incident, I can help the IR team communicate. If you've never been in a breach, quite often communications is the hardest part. Obviously the technical side, very, very challenging, but we really underestimate the challenges of comms. Another example, one of the biggest drivers of your culture are your policies. The more confusing, the more overwhelming, the more likely we drive a negative culture. Help the security team, help GRC either create and simplify policies or simplify how they're communicated. The problem is security teams are really good at creating policy, really bad at communicating those policies. Also, folks, this is critical, and this broke my heart. 2 months ago, a very large manufacturing company asked me to come in and review their program. Very big, and they had 5 people on their security awareness and culture team. So from a numbers perspective, it all looked great. And they had all the soft skills. And they were so excited about everything they were doing. And they kept there and they kept talking to me about, yes, we bring in professional actors, our mandated training, people love, it's highly engaging. You should see the infographic. 5 of the most amazing soft skills I've ever seen. And I was excited. And literally, I then asked, what behaviors are you trying to change? And I got a blank look from all of them. And I said, well, what risks are you trying to reduce? And I got a blank look from all of them. And I realized here was an incredible team with so much potential who were in the entertainment business. That's all they cared about because that's all they knew. They were not working with the security team. Now, I'm in no way saying you need to become a technical expert. You have them, but you do need to learn to talk in their terms. Work with cyber threat intelligence. Learn what TTPs are and the most common techniques cyber attackers are using to target your organization. Work with GRC. Learn the terms of risk management. We pride ourselves on communication. Learn how to communicate to the technical team. Have them teach you. Have them develop those skills. The sooner you can talk in terms of risk management, the more likely you're going to engage and build your career. Finally, as I'm emphasizing all these strategic elements, perhaps have that reflect in your title. Instead of being security analyst or security awareness, have a title that more reflects your strategic role. All right, anything, Rach?
So I just wanted to pick up on that simplification. And I know that we all have ways of making sure that we write things in a way that everybody else understands. And nothing makes this point clearer than just my brief story about when I started in cybersecurity, and I was trying to explain what I do to my parents. And I said to my mum, you know, we talk about multi-factor authentication, and she said, "Yep, no, yeah, 100%." I said, "You know, your passwords." "Oh yeah, yes, of course, passwords, logging in, yes, yes." So, Mum, do you have a password manager? "A password manager, H?" "Yes, yeah, a password manager." "No, but when can I book an appointment with them?" So sometimes simplification is really important because we use so much jargon. Marketing created it, so apologies on that, that's on us. With all the acronyms and things that we tackle every single day, it becomes internal knowledge for us. We're so comfortable in that remit. But you have people like my mum in everyone's organization. So how do we translate the messages we need to get across so that everyone can understand without being condescending?
So in many ways, that's how I perceive our role. Our job is to make security simple for the workforce. If you make security simple, you're driving behavior change. You're building a strong culture. Once again, that partnership with security. Now we're going to wrap things up, but one of the key things that we did new this year is we started asking more open-ended questions. AI is starting to make it easier where we can make your responses, we dump them into a database, and then we can analyze using AI some common categories and themes. And we had 5 open-ended answers. And in the report, we do a deep dive on those, but I'm going to highlight 1 or 2. So what was interesting with number 1? What was your most effective initiative? And the number 1 thing that came back was there was no such thing as a single successful initiative. The key was to be continuously reaching and engaging people throughout the year, which we thought was really interesting. So while October is very important, we have to remember we're still in the business the other 11 months of the year. For number 2, I'm just going to highlight a couple of these. Number 2 is, once again, the fundamentals. Sometimes we get so caught up in all of these funky, different types of attacks, juice jacking and other things. We forget that people don't really know the basics. Lisa Plagmeyer from National Cybersecurity Alliance, she mentioned something called the Core 4. We're focusing on these Core 4 basics, and I love that foundation. Strong passwords, MFA, enable automatic updating, and detecting scams. That's social engineering. Focusing on the basics was critical. And then greatest frustration, quite often it wasn't the leadership, it was your own security team. Trying to work with them, get their credibility. And once again, I think that's a breakdown because we like to talk in terms of what we're doing. We need to focus on the why, partner, ask them what are the human risks, the attack vectors, the TTPs. That's a nerdy word that geeks love. Tactics, techniques, and procedures. But once again, details are in the end there, and it looks like our time is up. So final takeaways?
Yeah, so, and this report is here to facilitate a conversation. We're not here to kind of dictate to you what to do, because every single one of you is unique and different in different roles and different companies that all have different needs and demands. But you can get your insights and start having a look at what good might look and feel like for your organization within the report. Chad will be up probably for the next year, so we'll catch him in 2026, still tackling your questions. And obviously, if you've got any other questions, please do let me know. We'll drop the link to the report in Slack, or come and visit us if you're here in the room at our desk, and you'll be able to get the report hard copy and read it on your flight or journey home. And lastly, let's just keep building together. It's been lovely speaking with you.
All right, folks, thanks so much.